Doesn't go with Baptist?
No, I'm saying that the back row is
Friday afternoon thing.
You know, we have some regular background people too.
Playing cricket. And I've gone the last 2 times, and she, a woman that's.
Good morning, Donna. We're talking about the regular background people.
She says, nobody here knows how to play it. You gotta teach them. And so I told Abby and Anna about it, and they came. This last week, there was like.
I don't know. If need be, I'll do it.
So it's not that. Yeah, so I just, it's got a board with little, with holes in it and markers so you can keep track of your score. It's a card.
I'm not sure what it means. Though.
First
What does it
plan,
mean?
then
And do you think it's more so in churches than in other types of assemblies?
It's in your, just in your hand compared to, in addition to
So like classrooms, you also expect to see.
and then, well, is there a regular back? And you get points that way, so those 2 families, they're points. And you move the bags around.
You know, in the old days, you know, you used to have a gate on it.
Yeah,
You had to pay for it.
but 6 points there, and it goes, it takes, and usually you get down in it.
Come to think of it.
Yes, but anyway, I just like something else you got to
Well, the problem
Oh, yeah.
is that every now and then they have a fire.
Pretty New York is pretty good.
And we were always, I think we always said,
Oh, God, no. I'm so far back.
well, you know, my parents were
My boyfriend and I in California, we befriended the
well,
entire couple.
my dad did CEO of
And that's what they should have eating. So they
arranged
should
it.
have sick play.
My mother did volunteer with them, and that was actually run by the church. She actually lived in the county that the church had. So
Anyway.
they didn't typically use that. They called it an experimental use.
No, Friday.
She had a lot of things to say about that. Nobody ever washes the dishes except me.
3 people don't know how to play it all. So they just
somewhere on a regular basis.
they're gonna get their cards out there, so
Yeah.
you can see what the choices were.
I mean, but I've got
Friday at 1:30.
to keep one of the lecture hall. And
I don't know if there is such a.
everybody came in every day exactly the same.
Yeah, well, we pretty much had our seats in there. At some point, she rearranged just because the class size had gone down low enough that she could see us in every other row, and then she didn't have to make 2 tests. She always had 2 different tests, so you couldn't just peer over to the next door neighbor. One time, she accidentally dropped a page, so half the class had to come the next class time and take a portion of the test.
I got some long term.
I enjoyed her sort of classic teacherly type. You say percentage afterwards with all the, you know, all the things that Phyllis were teaching for 40 years. But it was my favorite was she used to always, at some point, tell her students, I've been doing this since before you were born. And then of course, I said, she thought that was so easy that she had to tell her other sections, and she had this class where she couldn't say anything. Now she's free. Of course, I guess I've covered. I don't think she teaches. Probably stuff. I'm not even sure who knew that anymore, but she was not a I'm not sure. You know, back in the old days, typically when they had a job, they expected to get fired.
I would see that.
But that's why I love it.
Because I couldn't.
I'm a cafe deficit.
As you say,
I was going to grab a couple of
I'm not sure she can say. Usually alone, so it's true. Some sort of change in and I don't even know that because I'm not about to actually see exactly what you basically just sit there and say, I can't hear it anyway. All right. How many what? Oh. Yeah, well, you know, there's Bill hearing brought me up to speed, pointing out that a lot of those lines are they're not like that.
Always good to see you, Stephanie. How are you? Oh, how are you?
Hey, you got 6 yards to go.
We're good.
Yeah, well, you know, this is the background.
Come here. Looks like a
Welcome and good morning. I'm Al Hackle, president of the Fellowship Board this year. Come, whoever you are, holding various beliefs, whatever your skin color, whatever your age or gender identity, whatever your abilities, whomever you love, you are welcome at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Statesboro. You are welcome in this, our religious home. I extend a warm welcome to our visitors and guests. If you would like, we invite you to take a moment now to introduce yourself. Anyone? Recent visitors?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for extending the invitation to us. I'm Adrian McCollar, and it's just such a pleasure to be here with you this morning. I've not been to you in a while. I think the last time I came was for one of Laura's meditation days, actually. So it's great to be back.
If we have any other visitors and guests, we hope you have given or will give us some contact information in our guest registry here in the front entrance or on our webpage at statesboro.org so that we can send you more information. For the month of January, half our offering that is not designated as a pledge will be donated to Fixing the Borough, a nonprofit, local nonprofit dedicated to a humane and sustainable solution to the overpopulation of dogs, cats, and other pet animals on the loose in rural Canada. Thank you for sharing your resources with us and with the Fellowship and Fixing the Borough during our offertory later in the service, or again on our webpage. Now I invite you to join me in reciting our congregational affirmation. Love
is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our worship leader this morning is Teresa Wynn.
Welcome, beloveds. Welcome. We come to the spiritual community this morning with many hopes in our hearts. The hope of inspiration, the hope of comfort, the hope for renewal. In this time and space, may inspiration water our thirsty souls. In this time and space, may comfort blossom into gardens of our hearts and bring us sweet relief. In this time and space, may renewal course through us, as electric as a surge of energy, as serene as a nourishing meal, as contagious as joy, and bring us vitality and rejuvenation. May this time together be honoring to all the hopes we hold within. May our time together bless us with the gifts of inspiration, comfort, and renewal. Let us worship together. And we will begin that worship with lighting of our chalice. If you would join me in our chalice reading. This is our chalice
of love and light, uniting us all by day and night.
Rise up. Sorry.
If you would rise and join us in rising to the light.
Shoulders
fellowship with one another.
Are they sponsored? Oh, it's great.
Here we go. Sorry for the delay.
Welcome to Bright Story Time. My name is Lisbeth Kaiser, and today I'm going to tell you a true story about a real person named Martin Luther King. You might have heard of Martin Luther King before, so this story will tell you more about who he was and what he did and why he's so important. Who was Martin Luther King Jr.? Written by me with art by Stanley Chow. Martin's home was very happy. He had a big sister, a little brother, a father and a mother, and they were all kind to one another. Martin was filled with love. Martin also liked being at church. He learned to get along with everyone there, and he made many friends. Martin was filled with kindness. At home and at church, Martin was taught to love everyone, but not everyone was taught to love him. One day, Martin's best friend said he couldn't play with him anymore because Martin's skin was a different color. Martin was black, and his friend was white. In Martin City and in many other places, black people were treated unfairly. It made him sad and sometimes angry. Martin wished that all people would be kind and fair to one another. He studied and he learned, and he thought about how to change things. When Martin grew up, he became a reverend and an activist. He was a leader in his community. When he spoke, his words came from his big, strong heart and filled people up with love and kindness. Martin said that everyone should be treated fairly and that we should never hurt one another. He said that we could change the world peacefully. Not everyone wanted things to change, but lots and lots of people agreed with Martin. Martin showed them that they could be brave and peaceful even when they felt scared or angry. Together they worked to show everyone else that things needed to change. One day, Martin gave a very big speech about his dream of freedom and justice for all. Many people were there to listen. Others watched him on TV. The world still remembers what he said. I have a dream that one day we will stand up for freedom together. All of God's children will be able to join hands and sing. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Every year we celebrate Martin's birthday to remember what he did. He filled people's hearts. He worked hard for change. He made the world more fair. And he did it all because he loved people. This is a picture of the real Martin Luther King Jr. And here is more information in the back about his life and what he did.
So, as if y'all will stand up, turn around, the congregation is going to help us do our affirmation this morning, and then they're going to make a bridge, and we will sing you out. So just give us 1 second. Okay. We are Unitarian Universalists, people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. He's coming.
We shelter you, we warm our hearts as you pass through. May our love guard you as you go, to help you learn and help you grow.
Thank you. You may be seated for a moment while you grab a hymnal nearby. We are going to sing together this morning hymn number 149. The words will be on the screen as well as in your hymnal. So if you prefer to look at your book, feel free. 149. Sure. So as we are preparing to sing, I'm going to ask you to rise as we sing this beautiful song this morning. Thank you. And you may be seated. As we move into a time of meditation, I would like to share these words. They come from Spilling the Light. We hold hope close. In this community, we hold hope close. We do not always know what comes next, but that cannot dissuade us. We don't always know just what to do, but that will not mean that we are lost in the wilderness. We rely on the certainty beneath, the foundation of our values and ethics. We are a people who return to love like the North Star and to the truth that together we are greater than when we are alone. Our hope does not live in some glimmer of an indistinct future. Rather, we know the way to the world of which we dream. And by covenant and by the movement forward of one right action after the next, we know that one day we will arrive home. Please join me now in welcoming our speaker this morning, the Honorable Jonathan McCollar, the Mayor of the City of Statesboro. Jonathan.
Good morning. Good morning. Get my notes together. I haven't used one of these things since I was in band. But that's amazing. I want to start out by thanking everyone for the invitation, leadership. I think that this is not missed on us, what we're celebrating this morning. And my message is not long. I was reiterated that I have 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to say that I got a reputation of being long. But I think it was sent with love and making sure we got our guardrails up. So 15 to 20 minutes. They didn't say what time we were using, so we're going to be on Jonathan's 15. Absolutely. Today we celebrate the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. If you are an American, you know the legacy that his life has shined upon our history. Dr. King is a fellow Georgian whose life impacted not only our country, but the world. In fact, he led a life that ultimately ended up along that journey with him receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. And so as we celebrate the work and legacy of Dr. King, I want us to kind of take a moment to dive just a little deeper into Dr. King and his time and where we are today. Dr. King was a man that understood that change did not happen overnight. He understood that change happened with consistency. In fact, Dr. King was quoted as saying, "Change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle." Today, I would like to submit for today's talk, what are we willing to struggle for? I think we live in a time of instant gratification, and we're used to having things immediately. So when we think about struggle for a thing, it is often not a part of that wish list. And I can tell you that I don't believe as a child that Dr. King had a dream of one day becoming a martyr for a movement that he would ultimately become the leader of. I believe that as a child, Dr. King had dreams of any other child. And those dreams is always living a long life. A life where he's able to enjoy friends and families and have fond memories. But that was not God's plan for Dr. King. Dr. King led a life of struggle. He led a life of a struggle that he had dedicated himself, his family, and his loved ones to. I think that as he traveled along that path in that journey, what he did not know was that God was with him in every step. But those steps ultimately ended in Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. King's life, or God's novel for Dr. King, came to an end. But the struggle continued. And when we look at Dr. King's life, we want to understand clearly that he was a man that was committed to a struggle for the liberation, the freedom of not only a people, but a nation who had been bound by a legacy of discrimination, disenfranchisement, and a commitment to second-class citizenship. The struggle that Dr. King had took him not just throughout the state of Georgia, but throughout our country, and ultimately around the world. Dr. King struggled in Montgomery as those gathered together to protest the unfair practices of busing. And for over a year, those individuals walked to work, to school, and to places of business. I don't think the struggle is missed on us that when he went to Albany, Georgia, he fought and struggled, and there he said that in Albany the goal was not to get the Negro to vote, but to get the Negro to think about voting. Dr. King struggled. Dr. King struggled in Chicago, where he knew that access to fair, clean housing was something that should be connected to a right of every American human being. Dr. King's struggle is well documented. You can go to many books and journals. You can read the speeches that Dr. King wrote. And in those speeches, they shed light on the struggle that Dr. King had throughout this movement. Dr. King was leading a movement where it took enormous tolls on him on a day-to-day basis. This struggle came with threats to his life, threats to his family life. Dr. King had been stabbed in his home barn, but the struggle continued. We can examine the words of his speeches and shed light on the wisdom of the words he used to shed light on very complex issues within our nation. As we read these words, we can see that he had a unique ability to explain why every American should be entitled to the rights that's in the founding documents of this nation. He had a profound ability to be able to shed light why poverty was a social ill that our nation needed to be committed to. Dr. King had a unique ability to see that there was something immoral about a war in Vietnam when we were struggling locally to provide freedom to every American citizen. Along this struggle, Dr. King committed himself to being a truth teller. And in this pursuit of truth, Dr. King ran into continuous struggle. He often struggled with those that were comfortable with status quo. He struggled with those that benefited from the disenfranchisement of citizens in the United States. But his greatest struggle was often with those in which he was fighting for. If documentation is correct, it said that more than 87% of churches, black churches, did not want Dr. King to be in their pulpit. These were the folks that Dr. King fought for. It is said that when Dr. King came out against the war in Vietnam, he was seen as a traitor. He was unpatriotic. I submit to you, what more patriotic thing can you do than to be honest with your nation? Dr. King was often misaligned because he chose to stand on the side of righteousness instead of the convenience of popularity. Dr. King said a true leader is not a builder of consensus amongst people. They tend to do what's right. It is also said that Dr. King, when he traveled throughout the nation, Dr. King was a man that understood that he had an expiration on his life. Dr. King was said to be consumed with the idea of his death. And what we submit today is that though none of us know our destiny, what we know is that we have the present to do what is right. When Dr. King struggled in Albany, he understood that some progress was great progress. He understood in Atlanta that as he progressed to integrate businesses in that community in which he called home, it would be a struggle that is worth it. But Dr. King had a message that I think we often do not pay attention to. Dr. King's fuel during this struggle was his commitment to the truth. Dr. King is quoted as saying that in the midst of everything that he was going through, he said that the commitment, a conscientious ignorance, and a commitment to misinformation was dangerous for any people. And it is in this space that we want to talk about where we are today. Today we live in a nation where the people have been fed so much misinformation. If you can go back just a few years, during a presidential election, we saw a nation that was consumed in one of the most contested and tough races that we had seen in decades. It was during that year we began to see the rise of purposeful misinformation delivered to the masses. In fact, we can think on Q. Many folks stayed up late at night to get the word from Q. For some of us, it was clear that this was a tactic to continue to keep the people divided and to continue to keep the people misinformed. 5 years later, Q was nowhere to be found. We turn to our social media, and we see actors in social media deliberately misleading the people for political and power gains. And now, in 2025, that has been coupled with artificial intelligence. We are living in an age where there is benefit to the misinformation, to the distribution of misinformation to the people. Now is a time, if there was ever, we have to be grounded and committed in the truth. In this new era, the struggle in which we are fighting for is not only a struggle for justice, it is not only a struggle for equality, it is not only a struggle for economic opportunity, it is a struggle for a commitment to truth. In this struggle and in this commitment to fight for truth within our community, within our state, and with our nation, that means we must stand boldly in a space alone if need be. See, there is nothing in this world, per Dr. King, that is more dangerous than the sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. We are living in a society where we have people committing themselves to known untruths. Jonathan, what are you talking about? We are living in a day where we're on the eve of the inauguration of a man that has been convicted of 34 felonies. Meanwhile, the truth for many of us, with our family and friends, they can't get a local job at your Walmart if they had one. We must commit ourselves to a truth that says what's good for one is good for all, and what applies to one must apply to all. Because somewhere we read in our founding documents about ideas of liberty and freedom. And if we are going to be a nation that's bold and brave enough to be founded on these ideas, we must be committed to the struggle to ensure that every American has a right to liberty, freedom, and justice. This is our struggle. Our struggle now is for us to ensure that every American, regardless of the hue of their skin, regardless of who they choose to love, regardless of the God in which they choose to worship, has a fundamental right to be given every access that is enshrined in those documents that founded this country. See, true peace never comes at the tip of a spear. True peace only comes where justice reigns for all. We have a new commitment. I know that sometimes struggle seems daunting. No one wants to go through the pain, but Frederick Douglass said, without struggle, there is no progress. And if we want to push our community, our state, and our nation forward, then we must be willing to struggle during this time period. Our country is at a crossroads, and we must make a decision as to what type of nation do we want to be a part of. Do we want a nation that continues to build on a legacy of discrimination amongst its own citizens? Or do we want to be that nation that's talked about as being that city, that shining city on the mount where its people are free and justice reigns? That's the struggle that we have. And sometimes on that journey, we have to realize, like Dr. King, that we may not get to that mountaintop with everyone. But we have to have the courage and the vision to look over and understand that one day we will get there, but we won't get there without struggle. See, Dr. King was a man of his time. He wasn't born during slavery because that was not his time. He wasn't born during the time of his namesake Martin Luther and his theses, because that was not his time. And that applies to us. See, if we could take a journey through time, it would do us no good for us to be in the chambers as our founding fathers were writing the documents to establish a nation of promise. As much as we would have liked to have been at least one stop on Harriet Tubman's Underground Railroad, that was not our time. As much as we would have liked to have sat with Gandhi during that time, that was not our time. As much as we would have liked to have sat on the front porch with Fannie Lou Hamer, or if we would have had the opportunity to be in the building with Bobby Kennedy, if we had the opportunity to walk with Jesus and his disciples, all of those things would have been great, but that would not have been our time. Our time is now. Our destiny is now. The universe came together to create this space for us in this moment, because this is the time in which our nation, our world, our universe, our greater calling needs us. We must step into the role of becoming the giants of future generations, so that when they look back in this space, they can say that we are now standing on the shoulders of giants that struggled so that we can move just that much closer to freedom. I submit to you that in the midst of this struggle, the reward comes when we all recognize that America can never be America until it's America for all of its people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate you being here this morning and for being willing to stay with us for a few minutes after the service for our conversation circle. So if you can join us, please do. It is time now for our offering. So as we pass the plates around, please remember that anything that is not designated as your pledge will be shared with Fixing the Burn.
Give thanks for the corn and the wheat that are reaped, for labor well done, and for barns that are heaped, for the sun and the dew, and the sweet honeycomb, for the rose and the song, and the harvest brought home. Give thanks for the mills and the farms of our land, for craft and the strength in the work of our hands, for the beauty our artists and poets have wrought, for the hope and affection our friendships have brought. Give thanks for the homes that with kindness are blessed, for seasons of plenty and well-deserved rest, for our country extending from sea unto sea, for ways that have made it a land for the free.
Thank you for sharing your gifts this morning. They are gratefully received. Are there those this morning that would like to come up and share a special joy or concern? We invite you to do so now. You can light a candle or place a stone. We would love to also hear your name. So this is the time.
We noted a few weeks ago the death of Laura Milner's mother, Ann Maddox Milner Metz, who apparently was a very accomplished and lovely woman. She visited here a few times. But this past week, her life was celebrated in a memorial service in Alabama. So I want to again celebrate the life of Ann Metz and continue to send love and light to Laura and to all who loved this man.
Everybody, I'm Kieran. Just a little thing this time. I started trying to learn how to fish around Christmas. And I was trying to get to know this little creek just a couple yards up from where we live. And it's really given me something that makes me feel connected to something bigger than myself. Getting to know where the fish are at and how they respond to the weather and all that kind of stuff. And yesterday I finally caught my first fish.
This is a candle of joy. It was a joy to have a man here. And I thought his message was very appropriate. And I hope he and Mrs. Mayor will stop in the kitchen and there's things to eat. And there's something I'd like to give them.
I've only been here twice. I'm Dylan, and as of yesterday, I haven't had a drink in 11 months.
My name is June. About 10 years ago, got a chance to go to Memphis, Tennessee. Best part of it was watching my husband graduate. But one of the trips we took was a trip to the National Civil Rights Museum. And I have 3 takeaways from that trip. The first one is when you first walk in, there's this whole wall of quotes. And there was a big one that stuck with me, and it said, "If you ever wondered what you did during the Civil Rights era, now's the time to find out." And it was attributed to somebody named Kamala Harris. But it stuck with me. And the second thing is, there's a lot of Unitarian Universalists in that museum. And I tried to point everyone out who called it until he finally looked at it and said, "Mom, I get it." But, not to give anything away, but when you make that last turn at the museum, you are standing by the balcony. And that moment really shook me. There is something about seeing where someone died that makes you see them not as an icon, but as a person. If you ever get a chance to go, I highly recommend it. But look for the quote.
I won't stand up, but just going off what Jane said, if you can't make it to Memphis, the Civil Rights Museum in Atlanta, which is still relatively new, is an amazing journey as well. So if you can't make it to Memphis, at least make it to Atlanta because it's a really
impressive collection that they have up there. It's very small and strangely right next to the Coca-Cola Museum. but it is right there and right next to Dr. King's home church as well. So you can travel very quickly from one to the other if you would like to see both.
Yeah, I'm Erin. Recently, been trying to get Izzy involved in stuff, but it's hard because she's with her dad during most days that involvement happens. But there is a group in town called Our Girls Rock 2. They're amazing, and I love them very much. And we went to the orientation this last weekend, I think. And I think it would be a really good thing for her to be a part of that group, but it is predominantly Black girls. And so she, like we've talked about, like whether or not she feels comfortable in that space. And I'm hoping that I can get her to see like this is for everybody. But also there's a lot to learn from people that are different from you. And one of the things that brought this up for me is we were talking about the Civil Rights Museum. One of the things that they do is they take a trip to Washington and they go to the Civil Rights Museum there. And she is worried about money, so she doesn't want to, say, yes, I want to participate in this. But I know she does. So at some point, if I'm fundraising, just know that's what that's for. It's trying to get her out of Statesboro. I don't think she's remembered being out of Statesboro for much else than like short vacations. She doesn't understand that there's a whole world out there. Like when we go downtown, she's like, this is the city. This is the place I want to live. And I'm like, this is not a city, my dear. She's never been on a plane. She wants to be on a plane. She's afraid to go on a plane. Like, there's just things that I think she needs to do to have those experiences, to be able to be that thing that she should be in this time. And she's a very sensitive individual. She's very good at looking out for other people. She's very socially minded. I hear her calling out people on VR all the time. Like, you can't say that word. That's a bad word. I'm going to report you. And I'm like, okay, well, this is said a lot. Let's think about this. But I think she could benefit a lot from it, and I hope that she takes advantage of that despite her fears.
I want to speak from here. And I hesitate to do it. But let's bring it home a little bit more. Our intern, Minister Randy, I'm on his committee. And we've sort of really gotten deeply into each other's lives. And so a part of his process was that we spent an entire day yesterday in Savannah. I'm from Savannah. With him walking through my community, with him spending 4 hours in the Civil Rights Museum, not just lost there, but walking through the community, with us going to the weeping times, where 1,000 or more slaves were auctioned in Savannah with a very small market. We had a wonderful, wonderful experience together. And it's something that I think that he would not have gotten from an internship by reading a book. And we loved it, the two of us. And we plan to do it again. So I just wanted to show.
Thank you, Aaron.
My name is Harvey Gray, and for those of you that do not know me, I work at Smith State Prison as a counselor for the inmates there. And something that Mr. McCollar spoke on really stuck with me, and it weighs on me every day, but we have this huge community of men and women that are left behind and forgotten, that when they are released, they have nothing to release to.
I'm struggling right now to find 7 gentlemen on my caseload of 300 places to live when they release. I have 4 that cannot parole because they have nowhere to go. I have an abundance of sex offenders that in the entire list of problem housing places that we have for them to go, there are 4 that will accept them. 4 in the entire state of Georgia. And even less than that, if they're completely maxing out, if they have no probation or parole, they won't take them. They won't take them because they're not valuable to that housing because they can't keep them there. Okay? So, you know, there's a lot that goes on in my day-to-day in the job that I do, but that is something I think about all the time, is all these people that could be productive members when they release, but they're set up for failure. And you see, if you're affluent, you can do whatever you want. You don't have that struggle that everyone else does. And you will never know what that feeling is to have nothing. And so that was something I wanted to speak on that Mr. McCollar said, was these politicians, these millionaires, they're not us, and they don't care about us because they don't know what it feels like. They don't know what it feels to struggle. Thank you.
Thank you, Harley. Thank you for the work you do and for trying to get other people informed and involved. There were 2 concerns that I wanted to lift up before we close today. As we all know, there was tragedy here, right here at home, I'm here in Bullitt County in Statesboro, with the shootings over at Pinewood Manor. 1 young man lost his life, and 2 other young men's lives are changed forever. The 14-year-old is going to be charged with murder. It's a concern, it's a sadness, and I lift those people and their families to send love and hope for the best for all of them. But I also want to share the encouraging note that people come together and try to continue to make things better. And 2 of our local leaders seated here today, Adrian and Jonathan McCollar, were very active in a community conversation sponsored by the NAACP yesterday at City Hall. So there are people working, and we keep our eyes and ears open and try to support those efforts and do what we can to build the community that we have here in Statesboro, people who do care about one another. So I want to just lift up sadness, love and light for the people involved, and appreciation for those who respond. And then another concern that I'll share briefly, as we all know, Matthew Feinsword is going through leukemia. He and his wife Sarah and their 4 children. But the good news, an update is Matthew is in Savannah doing the last of the inpatient treatment, and he's been alternating 5 days there and home for a week and a half. So he's doing the last of those, expects to be discharged tomorrow, and then has an appointment February the 11th to go to Atlanta for all the tests to try to begin that transplant process. I'm appreciative of people here who, I'm trying to think who I know, Kathy and Martha and others who have prepared meals, been supportive. Barb, thank you, Barb. Anybody who's prepared a meal, I'm trying to be helpful to that family. And if you're able to continue to do so, or do so again, or do the first time, let me or Martha know, and we'll connect you. But they're about to begin the process where he'll have to be in Atlanta for 6 months if he's approved and gets in the treatment. So we continue to hold them in love and light, and are glad for the encouraging news that there is light at the end of the tunnel. His chances are pretty good if he can get this treatment and get through it. So continuing to hold Matthew and his family in love and light.
Seeing no others jumping up, I will light 1 candle for those joys and concerns that are with us this morning that remain unexpressed. As as we think about and focus on these shared concerns and shared joys this morning, let us sing Spirit of Life to honor ourselves and each other and our connections.
That has advice from those who have been around and who have seen more than me in the years that I've been here. So there's a particular song that I really like, and some of the lyrics are, never be so kind you forget to be clever, but never be so clever you forget to be kind. Never be so polite you forget your power, but never wield such power you forget to be polite. So I'm looking for advice that you might have, that you've learned through life, that I can use within that piece. So next week, I'll ask for that if you have it, but I wanted to let you mull over it, first of all. Whatever you think is life lessons or advice that you've lived by that has made a difference in your life.
This is really more of a joy, but in case you're not on Facebook and didn't see, we were represented at the People's March in Washington yesterday. Did y'all know that Adrian and Michael are not here because they're traveling home from that? And also with them were Mortimer and Tara. So 4 of us were at the march in DC and hope for safe travels home for all of them.
And those pictures were great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, we will sing our benediction and invite everyone into the kitchen, as Connie mentioned, for some delicious refreshments. And then back in here at about 11:45 for talk back afterthoughts. So join us in